What's up guys? So today it's POCO versus POCO day. So we have the POCO F7 Ultra versus the POCO F7 Pro. So the POCO F7 series is here and both phones pack a pretty good punch with some interesting specs and features, and they are both absolutely feature packed. So quite excited to show you how they compare, but first of all, roll the intro. So in this video, we are going to compare everything from the design, display, chipset, camera samples, gaming benchmarks, thermals, and lots more. So by the end of this video, you should have a pretty good idea between these two smartphones. Now let's begin with the prices. Now at the time of shooting this video, the prices have not yet been announced, but from the rumors, POCO F7 Pro will probably start from around £440, and the POCO F7 Ultra will probably start from around £739. So if the rumors are true, the Ultra model is around £300 more in price. But is it worth that extra cash? Well, that's what we will find out in this video. Now let's quickly compare what comes with both phones. So as expected, exactly the same accessories being offered. So both come with a Type-C to USB-A charging cable. We get fast chargers in both, but the Ultra model comes with a 120-watt charger and the Pro model comes with a 90-watt charger. And both are also bundled with a TPU silicone case and the phones themselves. Now let's talk design. Both phones share the same build quality and design with space grade aluminium frames, rounded corners, and they both have glass backs. The F7 Ultra has a curved glass back and you can see a subtle curve around the edges, and the F7 Pro has a flat glass back panel. Both phones feature a combination finish to the design, so the top section are both glossy and you've got matte finishes for the bottom section. I have the F7 Ultra in black and I have the F7 Pro in silver. In the hands, they both do feel quite premium and very well made. And both phones are also IP68 certified for dust and water resistance. Now in terms of dimensions, both phones are 160.2 millimeters in height and 74.95 millimeters in width. So same height and width, but in thickness, the Ultra is 8.3 millimeters versus 8.1 millimeters. And weight-wise, the F7 Ultra is 212 grams versus 206 grams. So nearly the same dimensions, but the Ultra is a few millimeters thicker and a few grams heavier, but not enough to notice the difference when you're holding them both in your hands. Now let's check out those camera bumps. So the F7 Ultra has 3 rear cameras and the F7 Pro has 2 rear cameras. Both have the same round camera bump design with the same LED flash on the right. The Ultra model has this dark orange trim around the inside of the round module and the Pro does not. And more details on the cameras and samples coming up later in the video. Now let's talk displays. They both have exactly the same 6.67 inch 2K 120Hz AMOLED display, screen resolutions 3200 by 1440 with 526 pixels per inch and 3200 nits of peak brightness. Both screens support Dolby Vision and HDR10+, and they are both 12-bit displays with 100% DCI-P3 color space, and they both feature various TUV Rheinland certifications. But there is just one single difference in the displays. The F7 Ultra has POCO Shield glass protection on top, and the F7 Pro has Gorilla Glass 7i protection on top. That is the only difference in the displays. Now let's quickly compare the ports. As expected, exactly the same port layout on both phones. So at the bottom we have SIM trays, microphone hole, Type-C charging port and a loudspeaker. And I do want to quickly confirm neither phone supports display out via Type-C. And on the side we have our volume and power buttons in exactly the same location. Up on top we have nothing, and the secondary speaker is located on the earpiece of both phones. And on the other side again we have nothing. Now both phones do have IR blasters built in and it's hidden within the camera modules. Alright, now let's talk about batteries. The The F7 Ultra has a 5300 mAh battery built in versus a 6000 mAh battery in the F7 Pro. So strangely, the Pro model has the slightly bigger battery than the Ultra model. Also, charging speeds. The Ultra model supports 120 watt hypercharging versus 90 watt hypercharging in the Pro model, and both come with their fast chargers included in the box. Charging speeds, the F7 Ultra can achieve 100% charge in around 34 minutes, and the F7 Pro can achieve the same in around 37 minutes. The F7 Ultra benefits from 50 watt wireless charging, but the Pro model does not support wireless charging at all. Alright, so now it's time to check out the sounds. Both smartphones feature dual stereo speakers and both support Dolby Atmos sound. So here is a quick sound test. Okay, so now let's talk processing power. Both phones are powered by Snapdragon. The F7 Ultra has the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is a 3nm octa-core processor clocked at 4.32 GHz. And the F7 Pro is powered by last year's Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is a 4nm octa-core clocked at 3.3 GHz. For graphics, the F7 Ultra has the Adreno 830 versus the Adreno 750. The Ultra model also benefits from additional Vision Boost D7 chipset, which pushes the visuals further, giving you smart frame rate up to 120 FPS at 2K resolution gaming. Both phones feature LPDDR5X RAM and UFS 4.1 storage. The F7 Ultra is available in either 12 or 16 gigs of RAM, and the Pro version only comes with 12 gigs of RAM. And for storage, both phones will give you the option for either 256 or 512 gigs of internal storage. And both phones support virtual RAM extension. The Ultra lets you expand by up to 16 gigs, and the Pro version lets you expand by up to 12 gigs. Also, neither phones support microSD expansion or headphone jacks. Now let's compare benchmark results, starting off with Geekbench. So you can see the Ultra has achieved a single core score of 2908 versus a single core score of 2123 and multi-core score of 8650 versus 6659. And here are the Antutu results. So the F7 Ultra achieves 2.4 million versus 1.8 million in the Pro model. So from the benchmarks, as expected, the Snapdragon 8 Elite is the newer and more powerful chipset, but they both feature LiquidCool technology 4.0, so both designed to stay cool under heavy gaming loads. They both also feature the WildBoost Optimisation 4.0, which takes performance to the next level, giving you a smoother AI-driven performance, sharper visuals, immersive audio and precise controls. So enough talk, let's put them both to the test and see how they both handle some intensive gaming. Alright, so first of all, COD graphics settings. Maximum selectable graphics on both phones is maximum graphics and maximum frame rate. If we select ultra frame rate, the graphics drops down to medium on both. So let's leave them both maxed out and test out some gameplay. I also have an on-screen FPS and thermal counter so we can keep an eye on the performance and the thermals. So let's jump straight into some gameplay. Alright, so quick look at the thermal monitor. We started at around 28 degrees Celsius and we ended up at 33 degrees Celsius, no throttling at all. So gameplay was super smooth all the way through and we were achieving close to 120 frames per second. Alright, so let's swap phones now and pick up the F7 Pro and test out some gameplay.
Enemy down!
Killer drone on standby. Sentry gun ready for deployment. We lost A. We've taken the lead.
Tango down! Target down! Target's in sight!
UAV online.
Enemy down!
Sentry gun ready to deploy. Stealth chopper inbound. Capture B.
Down! Target down!
Alright, so let's have a quick look at the thermals. So we started at 29 degrees Celsius and we ended at 33, no throttling, devices operating normally. And we were achieving 60 frames per second consistently all throughout that game. Alright, so now we're actually going to try and make both phones struggle by playing COD Warzone and maxing out the graphic settings. Now most phones do overheat when I do this test, but let's do it anyway and see what happens. So starting off with the F7 Ultra. Let's go.
Map to hunt down the rest of them. Excellent work.
Oh, that was crazy. So started playing this game at 37 degrees Celsius and ended up at 43 degrees. Thermal monitor shows no throttling and we achieved a constant frame rate of nearly 120 FPS throughout the game. So absolutely impressed with the gameplay performance and thermals of the POCO F7 Ultra. But will the F7 Pro be able to perform as good, or will it overheat and throttle? Well, we're about to find out.
Use your tac map to hunt down the rest of them. Enemy destroyed. Dropped them. Enemy destroyed. Use your tac map.
Okay, so we started playing at around 38 degrees. End temperature is 43 degrees Celsius, but temperature monitor shows severe throttling. However, I did not notice this during gameplay. It was pretty much a smooth experience and close to 120 FPS throughout. But maybe a longer gaming session might cause further throttling issues with this phone. I think this is quite a well-known issue with Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. It's powerful but prone to throttling, especially if you max out the graphics. Alright, now let's check out the cameras. Both phones offer a flagship camera experience. The Ultra has 3 cameras and the Pro version has 2 cameras. So they both offer the same primary sensor, which is the Light Fusion 800 50 megapixel sensor, also known as the OmniVision OV50 Light Hunter 800. This is a popular sensor used in many smartphones, and a few to name: Xiaomi Mix Fold 4, Redmi Note 14 Pro Plus, the Redmi K70 and the Xiaomi 14 Civi. They all have this same primary sensor. The F7 Ultra also has a second 50 megapixel telephoto lens, and based on the Redmi K80, it could be the Samsung JN5 image sensor as seen in the OnePlus 13R. And the third sensor on the F7 Ultra is a 32 megapixel ultra wide, and again based on the Redmi K80, this could very well be the Samsung KD1 last seen in the Xiaomi 14T, the 14T Pro, the Vivo X200 and the Vivo X200 Pro. All of these phones used the KD1 sensor as their selfie camera, but we're seeing that KD1 sensor as an ultra wide in this smartphone. And on the front we have a 20 megapixel selfie camera. Now onto the F7 Pro's dual cameras. So we have the same primary sensor as I already mentioned, the Light Fusion 800 50 megapixel sensor. The second camera is an 8 megapixel sensor, and based on the Redmi K80, this could also be the OmniVision OV08D10, and this sensor has been used as a selfie camera in the OnePlus Nord N20 SE, the Oppo A77 and the Oppo A77s. And on the front we have a 20 megapixel selfie camera. So let's go ahead and check out some side-by-side camera samples and see the differences for ourselves. So starting off with 8K at 24 frames per second, 8K 24. And this is 4K 60, 4K 60 frames. Alright, 4K 30 on both, 4K 30 frames. And this is 1080p 60 on both front facing cameras, and that is the maximum resolution supported in both. Quick look at the DRMs. You can see both have Widevine level 1 certifications, and you can see here all the HDR formats that are supported, and both support Netflix with Dolby Vision and spatial audio. And here is CPU Z, where you can check out the clock speeds, and you can see here Adreno 830 versus Adreno 750, and both running Android 15 with Xiaomi's latest HyperOS version 2 on top, and expected to receive at least 4 years of Android updates and 5 years of security patches. Furthermore, here are the results for the internal disk speeds. So F7 Ultra achieves read speeds of 1616 versus 1827, and write speeds of 933 versus 594 megabytes per second. And to give you an idea of how powerful these smartphones are, here is my top performing smartphone chart of 2025, where you can compare everything from the price, specs and features of all the newly launched smartphones. Now all phones are ranked by Geekbench scores, so higher the benchmarks, faster the performance, and therefore higher the phone ranks. I've also added a new rating system out of 100, so you can see the best performers, but also exactly what I think of the phone. Now with that being said, the POCO F7 Ultra takes position 7 on this chart with a Geekbench multi-core score of 8650, and I've also given this phone a rating of 97 out of 100. And the POCO F7 Pro ranks position 17 on this chart with a Geekbench multi-core score of 6659, and I've given this phone an overall rating of 93 out of 100. Now you can view the full versions of all my charts online at chickstech.com and read them at your leisure and completely free of charge. So there you have it guys, that was my comparison between the POCO F7 Ultra versus the POCO F7 Pro. So let me break it down for you. The POCO F7 Ultra has a much more powerful chipset with the Snapdragon 8 Elite. You've got the additional extra Vision Boost D7 chipset as well, and as a result we're getting a much better gaming performance with no throttling issues at all, and it sustained highest frame rates and no overheating. The Ultra will also give you wireless charging at 50 watts. You get faster wired charging at 120 watts. It's got POCO Shield glass compared to Gorilla Glass 7, and I can't really say at this stage if it's going to be better scratch resistant or better drop resistance than the Gorilla Glass 7i. And the camera performance from both were quite similar, pretty decent on both, but you can nitpick between them, and I'm sure you guys have already decided which cameras you like the best, so do let me know in the comments which one you preferred. Also, the F7 Ultra has a newer version of Bluetooth, which is Bluetooth version 6. Now, the positive points of the POCO F7 Pro: it has a bigger 6000 mAh battery compared to the Ultra's 5300 mAh. It's very slightly slimmer and very slightly lighter. You also get fast charging at 90 watts. Compared to the Ultra's 120 watts. You've got dual cameras, but the performance were pretty much on par with each other, especially as both phones do have the same primary sensor, and you've got Bluetooth 5.4. Now let me quickly point out what both phones share in common. So they both have IP68 certification, they both support Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos, they both have the TUV Rheinland certifications, you've got exactly the same screens, both 120Hz, both aluminium and glass build quality, both feature Wi-Fi 7, and they both have ultrasonic fingerprint sensors. So that's pretty much sums it all up. I hope this video has helped you see the main differences between these two smartphones, and do let me know in the comments which phone from these you would want to use as your own daily driver. It'll be nice to hear your thoughts. Now, if you want to see more of my latest and greatest unbiased tech reviews, hit the like button, sub to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have an amazing day. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.